Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and the Son, Yahweh Bashmel Shai, Bashem Arakak, Radash, and double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone that have taught me this truth, and including the elder bishops on down as well. Yahweh Bashmel Shai Brakathum to the 144,000, and including the 1/3 that do follow, and it's your brother Laban. Speaking on this story over here in regards to America, as this reads, America in the age of Nero. Americans are like members of a quarrelsome family, so intent on arguing their petty grievances around a world kitchen table that don't smell the rising smoke from the oven. Just going right into this over here. As our nation fumes and the world burns, neither major party presidential candidate is addressing the lapping flames around us. Kamala Harris and DJ Trump are not simply ignoring our frightening national debt. Neither candidate has a serious plan to respond to the threats posed by China, Russia, or Iran. The strangling cost of healthcare, the sharp decline in mental health, the disintegration of our public schools, which is sharply tied to the breakdown in the family, are all ignored in a race marked by gauzy references to policy and sharp personal attacks. It's not just Harris and Trump. Our leadership in Washington has long refused to face up to the growing threats to our republic. Their empty promise is that everything is the other side's fault. Help us annihilate the other guy and everything will be peaches and cream. A third grader wouldn't fall for this nonsense. Neither side can vanquish the other. A Harris victory would not be the death of the knell of the Trump's populist message. Trump's win will not defend progressivism. Left would lurch, whatever the outcome. We will continue to be a divided, angry nation, and yet seemingly thoughtful Americans that bought this hook, line, and sinker. Now, the first scripture that comes to my mind is Revelations 13 and verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and I had two horns like a lamb. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And those two horns represents the partisan system that they have, which is the Republican and the Democratic Party, a two-party system, which is what the word partisan means. And by this false sense of democracy, with having these two-party systems, therefore people are able to cast in their vote to elect the president, so-called, which their president, which is, supposedly has been elected, has been pre-elected anyway, okay, to do services unto those that are higher than him or her, okay? So the thing of it is, people in general in America and worldwide overall have been sold a lie that they have a sense of free will and power under the guise of democracy, that they can change the world just by a vote. And as time has been progressing, more and more, that's further away from the truth. So this is Esau basically acting as though he's for the rights of the people, when in all reality, he's using people to think this way so that they can get their agenda forwarded by the people backing them. So it's more of a psychological play on the minds of the people. And by the people, they can get their way. All right. And then people will be accepting of whatever it is that these powers do, even if it's against the rights of the people, which they care not for anyway. So when the time comes, when it's all said and done, these devils are going to really show how cruel they really are. And that's why it reads, and he spake as the dragon. So when this devil comes near towards his new world order, he's going to really go in. All right. And he's not going to spare none. And the reason why he's going to be like this, because as it stands right now, most people are becoming more informationally equipped. You know, thanks for the World Wide Web, which one of the Rockefellers said the worst thing that we could have ever came up with was the internet. The internet was supposed to be used so that the powers that we can track our every move, but instead it backfired, and we rather tracking them and seeing what they're doing and doing these lessons and bringing out this truth, which really makes them uncomfortable. Okay, so eventually this devil, he's gonna act as though what he really is, which he is the dragon, considered a mythological creature that is cruel. And that's how Esau is really going to portray himself. That's why it reads in the book of Revelations 12:12 that the devil will come down having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. And that time is shortly away from us. Verse 12, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and he caused of the earth and them which dwelt therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And that first beast which came in, which represents the ancient Roman system, which is the first beast to this system. Now, in ancient Rome, you had a partisan party system at that time. And you had people that would get together in these Senate houses and they would cast their votes on who they wanted to be their Caesar, whether it was the plebeians or the patricians, which I think the plebeians were like your working class sect people. And as well as you had the patricians, which were your higher class people. All right. It's kind of like what we have in the UK. We have what is called the Conservative Party, which is the Tories, and as well as you have the Labour Party, which is the working class party. All right. And as well as America, primarily where the focus is at, you have the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, which just means the same thing. The word republic means to be backed by the public, and the word democracy means the people rule. OK, so it's just a play on words here. But ultimately, we know who the real power relies, and it doesn't rely on the people. Period. Okay, so that's why nothing's going to get done, because you have two parties, or let's just say two wings, but there lies the same bird. Okay, and ultimately, as prophecy puts it, two horns but the same dragon. All right. So so let's read some more. More importantly, even if one side did seize absolute power, they have no legitimate plan right to ship of state. 60 years of Great Society programs have shown us we can't spend our way out of problems. 44 years since the Reagan Revolution shows us that tax cuts can only set the stage for reforms that have never come. A task that nears the impossible as even more Americans become dependent on government aid. So when you have the mass majority of the population, or let's just say, not all of them, of course, but you have, a decent amount of people that have to rely on government aid. That's not good. That means that the country needs help. And when a country is in a state where it needs help, that means that country is sick. Okay. In past crises, the strength, resilience, and ingenuity of the American people have saved us from the depth of want and war, and it is not clear we retain that grit. Absolutely. There was a time and a place, if I'm correct, in the 1970s, and as well as even including the 80s, you had manufacturing-like jobs, which, lower class Americans worked in. And this is what made America independent, because they were able to make their own products rather than getting their products from other countries, and the main country that is such as China. So now America doesn't have these kind of jobs to formulate their own products, making America once again a dependent country, a consumer-based country, And what you don't want is, you don't want to just be a consumer. You want to be a retailer. Okay, you want to have goods that you can give to other people. Therefore, you're able to make bank. All right. So as I'm going to read again, an ingenuity of the American people have saved us from the depth of want and war, and it is not clear we retain that grit. Instead of demanding leadership, we seem content with the bread and circuses of mindless politics and more akins to the gladiatorial battles of Rome than the edifying debates of ancient Greece. And the broad embrace of victimhood and grievance on both sides has replaced any question of sacrifice for the common good with the desire to demonize our imagined tormentors. If anything, we save the fight, and it makes us feel important and alive, and it gives our lives meaning. Although we have serious problems and we are no longer a serious people, hence our choices between DJ Trump and Kamala Harris. They are not the disease, however, but a symptom, the first step towards a treatment, if not cure, which there is no cure. As this reads, for Babylon. Jeremiah 51 and verse 8, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed, and we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go every one into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the sky. So these other nations have realized that America is not what they thought it was. And this is why they're now going back to their country, because the economy isn't thriving as it did before, and as well as policies that were passed, which, these other nations don't respect. Okay, because it had an effect on their countries, of their people back home, for whatever reason that is the case. But America used to be this place which was seen as a place of great opportunity, where nations would come to better their lives, right? But as this is written, now they're in the spirit of forsaking her. And simply because they know that eventually the time is going to come where World War III is going to be had, and you have people that are trying to escape, right? You even have American citizens that live in different countries that have even renounced their citizenry. All right. So America's bound to fall, and this is pretty much scriptures that we have been bringing about for a long period of time, and we will continue to be repetitive on this, because as the Lord sanctioned us to be the prophets, to give them warning from him, that's just something that we have to do. All right. As it is also written in the book of Jeremiah 28 and 8, the prophets that which came before me of old time prophesy against great kingdoms, of pestilence, of evils, and of wars. And overall, there's a great downfall coming for this society. And we can't lie and say, well, there's going to be a revival of this system, because it's not. We're going to tell you what's written, and what's written is happening right now. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. So there's no healing for America. There's no rebuild, as what what's his name said, man, the current president of America, which is Joe slow ass Biden, talking about build back better, which goes back to 666. There ain't no build back better. All right. What we do see is continual decline until America really hits its back. That's where it's going. And I want to read this as well. Daniel 4 and verse 17. This matter is by the decree. As a matter of fact, let me go back and read some more on this, and then I'll get to that. Salakia. Yeah, so as this reads as well, although we have a serious problem, we are no longer a serious people, hence our choice between DJ Trump and Kamala Harris. They are not the disease, however, but a symptom. The first step towards a treatment, if not cure, is obvious. We must reject our empty politics of diversion in order to identify and address our urgent crises. Honestly, really make a difference. It might also make us happier and rechannel our energies from angry partisanship into thoughtful partnership, which would not be the case because America has been stuck on stupid for so many years. And for so many years, politicians have been allowed, and overall the powers that be have been allowed to get away with a whole lot. So, you know, when we're talking about change here, people find it very difficult to change. People tend to be comfortable to what they're used to doing on a regular basis. Okay. And the American people have been used to the breads and the circuses and playing the victim and just overall. Now, you know, I can't say that because there was a time where the American people were independent minded and they were strong minded people. Right. But let's just refer to the later generation, have you will. They've been trained to be in victim minded and dependent rather than to be independent. Okay. So again, it's going to be very difficult for people to change, to bring the change that they would like to see. And so therefore, America will continue to decline overall. And ultimately, the powers that be, they don't want to bring change for the better. They want to bring chaos, because bringing a change for the better does not work well for their New World Order system. They want ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos, which is what it stands for. Now, from time to time, I'll read what's in this website over here. The Masonic model, ordo ab chaos, of the many symbols and phrases of the Freemasonry, and a few models are important enough to be prominently and sometimes publicly displayed on flags, seals, or regalia. The phrase ordo ab chaos is the motto of the 33rd degree, which can be found on the grand decorations of the Order of Sovereign Grand Inspectors General, one of the highest honors and roles which can be bestowed upon a Mason. So it is also featured on other seals and flags representing the various orders. This phrase being depicted so prominently and particularly in relation to the 33rd degree indicates a tremendous importance to Freemasonry indeed. So how much more those that are higher up in it? So it's clear, without going too detailed, that the powers that be simply want chaos. And if they want chaos, then they're going to bring the chaos. And according to Bible prophecy, through the will of the Lord on the left-hand side, this will be brought. Okay? The Most High has put it in their minds to want chaos, to bring the chaos, simply because of this over here. Daniel 4 and verse 17. This matters by the decree of the watchers, and the man by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. So America is not the only empire, and is not going to be the last. The only and last empire will be the kingdom, which will be established by Yahushua, the first saint, and right along with the rest of the saints. That's what's next in the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter. Okay? So that's what's going to be happening. There's no comeback for America. There's not going to be a change of heart of the American people. Things are going to go as it is going. Things will continue to decline until America hits on its back. So with that, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Waharakah, Quadash. Shalom.